It was a typical Friday night, and I was home alone. My parents had gone out of town for the weekend, leaving me in charge of the house. At first, the idea of having the place to myself was exciting. I ordered a pizza, picked out a movie, and settled in for a relaxing evening. Around 10 p.m., I heard a noise outside. It was probably just a raccoon or some other animal, I thought. But then I heard it again, louder this time. I muted the TV and listened. The sound was coming from the backyard. I peered out the window but saw nothing unusual. Trying to shake off the unease, I locked the doors and windows, just to be safe, and resumed my movie. About an hour later, I decided to call it a night. I turned off the lights and headed upstairs to my bedroom. As I was brushing my teeth, I heard a faint creak from downstairs. My heart skipped a beat. I stood still, toothbrush in hand, listening intently. Another creak, followed by a soft thud. Someone was in the house. I quickly turned off the bathroom light and tiptoed to my bedroom, closing the door as quietly as possible. My mind raced. Should I call the police? What if it was just my imagination? I decided not to take any chances and grabbed my phone. As I was dialing 911, I heard footsteps coming up the stairs. My breath caught in my throat. I pressed the call button and whispered my address to the operator, explaining that someone had broken into my house. The operator assured me that officers were on their way and advised me to stay quiet and hide. I slipped into my closet, leaving the door slightly ajar so I could hear what was happening. The footsteps reached the top of the stairs and paused. My heart pounded so loudly I was sure whoever was in the house could hear it. The footsteps started again, slowly making their way down the hallway. I tried to control my breathing, praying the police would arrive in time. The footsteps stopped outside my bedroom door. There was a moment of silence, then the door creaked open. I could see a sliver of the hallway through the crack in the closet door. A shadow moved across the room, and I could hear the intruder rifling through my things. I clutched my phone, ready to call out if the intruder got too close. Suddenly, the intruder's phone rang, the loud ringtone piercing the silence. He cursed under his breath and answered it. His voice hushed. I couldn't make out what he was saying, but he sounded agitated. After what felt like an eternity, I heard the faint sound of sirens in the distance. The intruder must have heard them too, because he abruptly ended his call and bolted from the room. I listened as he ran down the stairs and out the back door. Moments later, I heard the front door being forced open, followed by shouts of police. I stayed in the closet until an officer found me, assuring me that the intruder was gone. They checked the house and found signs of forced entry in the back door, as well as evidence that the intruder had been watching the house for some time. The police never caught the intruder, but they believed he was a local burglar who had been targeting homes in the area. The thought of being watched and having my home violated left me shaken for a long time. One evening, a few weeks later, I was trying to get back to normalcy, studying for an upcoming exam. My parents were downstairs and the house was filled with the comforting sounds of everyday life. Just as I started to relax, my phone buzzed with a notification. It was a text from an unknown number. I opened it, and my blood ran cold. I know you're alone again. See you soon. I always thought I was brave enough to handle being home alone, but that changed one Friday night. My parents were out of town, and I had the house to myself for the weekend. I was looking forward to some peace and quiet, maybe binge watching my favorite shows and eating junk food. The evening started off normal. I ordered a pizza, settled on the couch, and began watching a horror movie marathon. The irony of what was about to happen didn't escape me later. Around 10 p.m., my phone rang. The caller ID showed a number I didn't recognize. Figuring it was just a wrong number, I answered. "Hello," I said. There was a pause. Then a man's voice spoke, low and raspy. "Is this Emily?" I felt a chill. "No, you have the wrong number," I replied and hung up, brushing off the encounter. Half an hour later, the phone rang again. It was the same number. Annoyed, I answered more sharply this time. "I told you have the wrong number." The same voice responded. "Are you sure about that, Emily?" My heart skipped a beat. How did he know my name? "Who is this?" I demanded. He chuckled. "A cold, unsettling sound. You'll find out soon enough." The line went dead. I tried to shake it off, telling myself it was just a prank. But as the night wore on, I couldn't relax. Every little sound in the house seemed magnified. I double-checked the locks on all the doors and windows, just to be safe. Around midnight, the phone rang again. My heart pounded as I stared at the screen. It was the same number. I let it ring, but the caller was persistent. After the fifth call, I picked up. "What do you want?" I shouted. "Emily, why are you ignoring me?" His voice was closer this time, more menacing. "I can see you, you know." I felt my blood turn to ice. "You're lying," I said, trying to sound braver than I felt. "Am I?" "Go check the back door." I hesitated, then slowly walked to the kitchen, my heart racing. The back door was slightly ajar. I was certain I had locked it. Panic set in. I slammed it shut and locked it, then grabbed a knife from the kitchen drawer. I called the police. I bluffed, hoping to scare him off. "They'll be here any minute." The man laughed again. "No, you didn't. But you should. See you soon, Emily." He hung up. I immediately called the police, my hands shaking so badly I could barely dial. They told me to stay on the line and that officers were on their way. As I waited, I heard noises outside, like someone moving around. The minutes felt like hours. I stayed in the kitchen, clutching the knife and listening intently. Finally, I heard sirens in the distance. The relief was overwhelming when 2 police officers knocked on my door. They searched the house and the yard but found no one. The back door's lock had been tampered with, confirming that someone had tried to get in. The officers stayed with me until my parents' friends arrived to take me to their house for the night. The next morning, I returned home to find everything in order. I tried to move past the incident, convincing myself it was just a one-time scare. That night, I went to bed early, exhausted from the previous night's ordeal. As I lay there, drifting off to sleep, my phone buzzed on the nightstand. Groggily, I reached for it, expecting a message from a friend. Instead, there was a new text from an unknown number. "Did you think it was over? Check your closet." With trembling hands, I slowly turned my head towards the closet, the door slightly ajar, and my heart froze as I saw. It was a Friday night, and I was finally alone. My parents had gone out for the evening, and I had the house to myself. I was looking forward to a quiet night in, catching up on my favorite TV shows and maybe ordering some takeout. Little did I know, the evening would turn into the most terrifying experience of my life. Around 8 p.m., I settled onto the couch with a bowl of popcorn and my phone. As I scrolled through social media, my phone buzzed with a text message from an unknown number. "Hey, it's me. I'm outside your house." I frowned and looked out the window, but the street was empty. Figuring it was a prank, I ignored it and went back to my show. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed again. "Why aren't you answering the door?" My heart skipped a beat. I hadn't heard anyone knock. I decided to respond, hoping to scare off whoever was messing with me. "Who is this?" The reply came almost instantly. "You don't know me, but I know you." I felt a chill run down my spine. I got up and checked all the locks on the doors and windows. Everything was secure. I decided to call my parents, but they didn't pick up. I texted my best friend, Sarah, to see if she was messing with me. But she replied quickly, saying she was out of town with her family. Just as I was about to call the police, another message came through. "Nice pajamas. Red really suits you." I was wearing red pajamas. My heart pounded in my chest as I slowly turned to look around the room. There was no way someone could see me. All the curtains were closed. I checked every room in the house, but I was alone, or at least I thought I was. My phone buzzed again. "You're wasting your time." "I'm already inside." Panic set in. I grabbed a kitchen knife and dialed 911, my hands shaking. As I waited for the operator to pick up, I heard a faint noise coming from the basement. The operator answered, and I tried to keep my voice steady as I explained the situation. They assured me that a patrol car was on its way. Against my better judgment, I decided to investigate the basement. I had to know if someone was really in my house. I quietly opened the door and crept down the stairs, knife in hand. The basement was dark, and I could barely see. My phone buzzed again. "You're getting closer." I turned on the light, and my heart nearly stopped. The basement window was open, and muddy footprints led from the window to the stairs. I bolted back upstairs and locked myself in the bathroom, my breath coming in short, ragged gasps. The police arrived within minutes. They searched the house thoroughly but found no one. The footprints in the basement were the only evidence that someone had been there. They assured me they would patrol the area and keep an eye on the house. Just as they were leaving, my phone buzzed one last time. Nice try. But I'm still here. I stared at the message, my blood running cold. I slowly looked up, feeling the weight of unseen eyes on me. From the darkened hallway, a shadow shifted, and I realized with dawning horror that the nightmare was far from over.